Hey, this is Danny with Patrick Adair Designs. I'm here for the January ring box, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with our unboxing. So, first off, we have this month's freebie. We're giving away our UV flashlights and then an iridescent color pigment. So this one's gonna be iridescent purple. So these are really cool. They're just like a white daytime color, but they have kind of a shimmery, almost afterglow. This one has a purple, and they're just really cool. They're fun to work with. All right, let's move into our box. This month we've got a pretty cool design. It's gonna come with gold leaf. So gold leaf is pretty fragile, so we're trying our best not to crinkle it yet, but there's that. Then we have a purple glow powder, pretty standard. Amethyst, Lapis Lazuli. We're doing this month on a carbon fiber blank. And then we just have our mixing vial, and our daytime color pigment is gonna be an iris purple, just a really nice purple.
All right, first up, we're gonna go ahead and mix our color pigment and our glow powders together. I like to do about 1.5 scoops of the iris daytime color, and then I'm gonna mix in roughly 3 to 4 times as much glow powder as I did the color pigment, just so that we get a nice even texture to the glow powder, and so that we're not having any weird clumps form as we try and put the glow powder into our inlay. All right, next up, we're gonna go ahead and start inlaying our materials. We're gonna start off with Lapis Lazuli, and we're gonna be using the medium CA adhesive. We're doing this just because it's a little bit easier to put in there, and you can make sure to cover the whole inlay material with our glow powder. So we're gonna go ahead and put them in. I like to go for medium to large pieces with this ring, and we're just making sure to keep them evenly spread out, keeping it nice and randomized, but keeping in mind that we do have 2 other inlay materials that need to be put into this ring. Next up, we're doing our amethyst. With the amethyst, I try and choose pieces that have a nice deep purple color, and as well as looking for about a medium-sized piece. We don't want it to be too large because that can just become a little bit overpowering, and if it's too small, you won't get the same nice depth that we get from a medium-sized piece. All right, next up, we're gonna go ahead and cover the whole ring with a thin layer of our super thin CA adhesive, just so that we can cover up all of the parts of the carbon fiber blank that are still showing. So as you can see, I'm just kind of going through and filling in those gaps. I'm not putting any extra powder on the Lapis Lazuli or on the amethyst. We're just trying to cover up that inner channel as much as we can. And we're gonna move on to our gold leaf. So here I'm using the medium adhesive again. I just put a glue tip on so that it would be easier to control and I could actually put it where I wanted it. So with the gold leaf, we wanna be careful not to just cover up the inside of our ring. We're trying to leave it almost as like specks or spots in the ring. So as you can see, I'm putting it in there and then I'm kind of breaking it up and moving it around a little bit. This adds some really cool effects later on. You'll see the gold kind of folded in some interesting shapes in the ring, which is cool. And it's not just gonna have it as a flat gold piece in the background, which I think is kind of cool. All right, after I finish putting on our gold leaf, I hit the whole ring with some accelerator, and then we start doing layers of super thin CA adhesive, just to really make sure that we fill in every single crack and crevice in this ring. The integrity of your ring, like the strength of it, really comes from having a nice solid ring. All right, as we move on to the Dremel, you just have to be really careful with this ring as you Dremel it down. The carbon fiber ring blank is really light and strong when you're wearing it, but when you're putting a Dremel to it, it can be really easy to go too far, to create a big divot to dig down into the ring blank. So as I'm going, I'm just making sure to be really careful making sure I'm not going too far, and I'm changing out the Dremel bit as often as I can. All right, now that we've got the ring blank all the way down, we don't have any excess material, I'm going through with the razor blade and just cutting out any air bubbles. After I've finished up with the razor and I've found all the air bubbles, I go ahead and just pull out my super thin as well, and we just do a nice quick layer around the entire ring to make sure we fill in every one of those air bubbles that we just dug out. So now we're gonna go ahead and start with our hand sand. We're using 220 grit to start, and then we're gonna work our way up to about 2000 grit. With this ring, since it is the carbon fiber, same thing as with the Dremel, you just need to be really careful that you're not over sanding it, overworking the material. All right, after our hand sand, we're gonna go ahead and dry the ring off. Make sure there's nothing weird, make sure we don't need to re-sand it, but I'm happy with how this one looks, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull out our Step 2 Astrotech polish, and we're gonna go ahead and just polish up the ring, give it a nice clean finish, make sure the carbon fiber is shining really nicely, and that you're getting a nice shine from the amethyst and the Lapis Lazuli. I'm actually really happy with how this ring turned out. I think it looks really cool. I like how the purple contrasts really nicely with the gold and the blue from the Lapis Lazuli. As you can see in this ring, the iris color pigment looks really nice. It has a nice kind of shimmery look to it, and then the gold leaf has some really cool depth and folds to it, so it's really fun to look at. Every piece of the gold is a little bit different. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one turned out. I think it's a really cool ring. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and join our Facebook group. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next month.